Hello, everyone. In this episode, I bring on a friend to share how we went from running 5 kilometers to running a marathon, which is 42 kilometers. Discover how we cultivated this mindset, what our training looked like, and what challenges we faced throughout our journey. Back to the show now. Blind people running a marathon. If a blind person is running a marathon, I don't know what your excuse is. Anybody who's watching, you finishing the marathon, how has that changed your outlook on what's possible? Did you last year believe you could do a marathon?
Raj, where do you put a friend like Parmeet?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wiser Together. This is your host, Parmeet Kumar, with your co host, Anas Pasha. As always, keep supporting us in all the ways you have been and will continue to do so. We truly appreciate it. Let me start this episode a bit differently and with a story. Earlier this year, I somehow decided I'm going to do a marathon. And in preparation for that, on the 2nd of April, I ran my half marathon. That was also the day that our podcast came out, the first episode of it. And just last week, I completed the whole marathon with this friend of mine who's here, who's joined us. So
Let's
thank you for
go.
coming. His
Uh,
name is Raj from Kenya.
yeah, thank you for having me, Anas and Parmeet. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you,
Thank
bro.
you,
Thank you for
Raj. Thank you for coming.
joining. So if
Congratulations to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. So, for anyone who doesn't know, marathon is a long distance race. Uh, it's 42.2 kilometers or 26.7 miles, or roughly 26 miles that you run continuously. And it's pretty much held all around the world, everywhere, but six of the countries have major. They're considered prestigious races. So those are Boston, Tokyo, Chicago, uh, Berlin, New York, and I think I'm missing one, but you can find it out. If you go on Google, you can find that out. But these are the six big ones. Sydney was trying to be there, bro. The energy the other day
Yeah,
was unreal. There was 40,000 people running this marathon. 41,000 people, and there is roughly 5 million people in the city. So that's 1% of the population literally running a marathon.
That's
And
crazy.
this is just me doing this and doing this with my friends and planning to do this with you as well next year is just a testament
Yes,
to
sir.
how we're trying to do hard things to make life easy, and we'll continue to do that and live on those experiences and share them that with you guys here. So yeah.
No, bro. I mean, first of all, when we met last week, you told me I was over the moon because it's just like I said, you've done everything that you set out to do this year, be it the boxing match, be it starting the podcast, and completing the marathon. And before that, not to mention how you completed the half marathon as well. So super proud of you guys, and just to be able to finish as well, just to be able to be there as well, like you said, like 40,000 people, that is just insane. Competing with them, I'm sure the vibe, the energy is just something out of this world, and I can't wait to experience that with you as well in Dubai. So that's going to be phenomenal. But I think the real story here is how you manage to, and this is what we keep talking about in the podcast as well, that you are the average of the five people that you hang around with. So I just want to like ask Raj that how he got into this as well, just to understand his story as well, because that's
yeah,
just amazing what you've been able to do for your friends as well. And I'm sure
yeah,
Raj and your other friend must also add value to your life in some certain way as well. But
yeah.
since here we are talking about the marathon, I just want to understand like how Parmeet was able to bring you into this realm and bring you into this fair.
100%. So this all just started off as a joke, right? I think earlier in March and April, they mentioned the marathon, and I was like, there is no way in earth I can do a marathon or even half a marathon, right? Forget, because the most I've ever done is 10 Ks, and I was like dead after. And it started off as a joke. We would go for a run here and there. and then I got an excuse to get out of it. So I went to Melbourne, watched F1, and well, these guys were doing the half marathon. And when they told me about it, I was like, there is no way you guys have done half a marathon, right?
Yeah.
Until I saw the medal, and I'm like, damn, that's actually true. It happened.
So that's when you saw the medal, did it like spark something inside you, or
Yes, that sparked something inside me. But at the same time, I was like, if we just keep on practicing and going for runs and stuff, then I'm sure we can get to 21K. I was not sure about the marathon at all until like 3 months ago. We would go for like weekly Sunday runs,
We
and
started the training,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
three
We
months ago.
it,
we would be going for like small runs here and there. I just came back from a holiday in Bali, so my fitness was terrible, and I was just dragged into Sunday runs all of a sudden. And I was like, damn.
see, that's what you were telling me as well, because Parmeet used to send me pictures and of his Sunday runs as well, the distance that he used to cover, 38K, 40K, hours and hours of running and this and that. And this is what we were talking about before starting the episode, that the night before, it's a Saturday night, it's a weekend, so usually you get to meet your friends and go out and stuff. But still, like, even in that state, you guys were doing these runs consistently and on
Yeah,
point and to the time, and that's a testament, because of those runs, like you mentioned, it was sort of like a momentum kind
yeah,
of a thing going on, and then you guys were able to do it.
yeah.
So since I would say like Parmeet was into it, like he was sort of passionate about it, and he started this team called the Wiser Run, if
Wiser
I'm
Run
not
Club,
wrong.
yeah.
Wiser Run Club. So that's obviously based off of Wiser Together, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
So so we have a running club in Sydney. That's amazing.
yeah,
But yeah, so based off of that, I just want to understand, like, run us through what you were feeling and how was it during the entire process of running the marathon? Because I'm sure a lot of people, including me myself, I'm
yeah,
training to run as well. So
yeah,
that people who listen to this can get like an insight.
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. So, like, in regards to the marathon, the day itself on the marathon day, right? Parmeet and I were like, we're gonna run this entire thing
Yeah,
together.
that was the plan.
Yeah, yeah. And we're like, because we push one another, right? And at the start of the race, I was just telling Parmeet, like, we had a pacemaker ahead of us because they give you pacemakers. And I was like, you're my other pacemaker because when I fall back, he's always looking around. He's like, come on, bro, like, start going, start going, start going. And we ran together for the first 16 Ks. And then from then, I think we just like split up because,
Yeah. I
yeah,
had to take
yeah.
a toilet break. So, and
Yeah,
then this is the thing, like, if you're running, once you stop running, that's when you start feeling all the pain and the,
yeah,
soreness, and some of your muscles are stiff and joints can't move. And that's when you stop, that's when you start feeling this.
yeah,
So, uh, I had to stop for a toilet break. Raj continued, and after I stopped, obviously I started feeling those things, so I was left behind. But this guy, man, he kept going and going and going, and wow, like
yeah.
in practice, I used to lap him and the other friend of ours. His name is Josh. Josh is the guy I did the half marathon with, and I used to lap them, and both of them finished before me on the day of the marathon. So how was it after we
So after we
parted
split,
ways?
yeah,
Yeah,
we parted ways. I would see you like on the other side every time,
yeah,
and then I would be
sometimes.
like, "Stop walking." When the first time I saw Permeet walking at that time, I'm like, "Bro, please don't avoid walking for the longest time." Because once you start walking, then in your mind you're like, "Okay, I just want to keep
Yeah,
walking, running, walking," and
yeah.
it will kill your entire mojo. But after I kept going till 32 k's, 30 at 32 k's, my legs were like shattered,
Hmm.
and then the whole point was just to keep on going till 38, slowly but pushing. Then 38, I was like, I'm walking for like 200 meters, and then just walking, running after.
But there, you didn't have any doubts throughout. I feel like you were confident throughout. And
Yeah, yeah,
by the day of the marathon day, like this guy was so pumped. He's like, bro, we're not walking. We're going to run like
yeah,
35, 37. We're going
yeah.
to run it. And I don't know, bro, what it is about him. Probably Kenyan genes, but this guy can run. This guy can run.
But
That's amazing.
it's also the training and the Sunday effort that we put in,
Yeah,
right?
training helps, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
When
was about to
when
mention this thing. What I saw and what I can understand from all of these stories, and what Parmeet has told me before, I believe there is this element of someone believing in you. You know, I see that like every week when you guys are running, like Parmeet said that sometimes he used to lap you, sometimes you used to do better, and that happens, of course, on the day. It's a case to case sort of a thing.
Yeah,
But when
yeah.
you have someone believing in you, and like you said that instead of they giving you a pacemaker, you said that okay, you are my pacemaker.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a sort of a thing when you have people that are running with you, that are believing in you. And another concept that we talked about in this podcast is about these experiential things, experiencing hardships together.
Mm.
When you
Mm.
come out of it, there's just something called oxytocin that is released. That's sort of a hormone that bonds you together. So I'm sure, like after completing that and after completing those runs, the bond between you two guys must be much much stronger, and that helps when you have to dig deep inside and when you are put into these situations. And I'm sure, like on that day when Prameet had to take the toilet break, and which I'm gonna come to because I want to understand the structure of the marathon and what you can do, what you can't do. But when that happened, so and on that day, like the role sort of reversed, and now you were his pacemaker, and now you were the one who was trying to motivate him and get him to the finish. And that's just phenomenal to have someone like that. 40,000 people over there, but how many people had that bond between themselves? I'm sure the number comes down to less than 0.11 or something like that. I don't know
I
the
mean,
number, but
honestly,
to
I feel
that
like
extent, yeah.
everybody has the people that were running, and this is something I've seen in Sydney, especially. Uh, we used to see, because we used to go for Sunday runs a month, 2 months prior to the marathon. Man, every park is full. You see
Yeah.
people running everywhere. Imagine,
Yeah.
because everybody's training for the marathon,
Yeah.
right? So everybody has there's so many clubs here, run clubs,
Yeah.
so many of
And
them, countless. So this thing is very much prevalent here, and I saw the whole city was together. Like, yeah, there was 40,000 people running, but throughout on the sides you see people cheering for you, calling out your name, and
yeah.
uh,
Wow,
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
amazing. And now it's like after we
that's
finished the marathon, I met this guy. We were just after the marathon, we were just at Oprah bar next to Oprah House having a beer, and then this guy, you because you've done that together. I don't know this guy, but he's done the marathon as well. 57 years old, his 13th marathon. He's also done an ultra, which is a 100-kilometer race. And we just start talking and getting to know each other and just bonding over that one experience. So, had that not experience not been there, we wouldn't be bonding. So,
Yeah.
just having that one experience, we get an opportunity to bond and connect with each other, and then set a foundation to connect over other things, which started with running a marathon. So, this guy gave me his card. He's running in Melbourne next month. And at some point, when I go, like, I'm going to contact him, I'm going to reach out to him, and I want to be honest, bring him on the podcast because he's
why not?
57 years old. He ran 100 kilometers when he was 100, and he doesn't even train for it. This is just something he does with his friends. So it's pretty interesting, man.
I think Parmeet was convinced to go to Melbourne as well, but a
Yeah,
bit too soon for
yeah,
another marathon.
yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful, and I mean, from what I can gather, like it's just, and I'm gonna ask you about Sydney as well, about this environment. But before I think we get into it, let's just like get through what a marathon actually is, and like what are the rules, regulation, how much is it for in terms of kilometers, miles, all of that stuff, so that the basics are out of the way.
Yeah, so I think we mentioned it's 42.2 kilometers, which in miles is, I think, 26.7 roughly.
Okay,
That's the
yeah.
distance. Uh, so that's the standard marathon distance, no matter where you go. That it'll be exactly that 42.2 kilometers or 26.7 or something miles. There's no rules. It's not really a race. You just have to finish it. As long as you cross the finish line. And there's cutoff time, which is I think
It
7 or
was seven
seven
for
hours.
Sydney.
Yeah, seven
Yeah.
hours. So you just got to complete it within 7 hours. And the track was phenomenal. We crossed the Harbour Bridge
Yeah.
and we went around Piermont and all these places. And if you're not from
Yeah.
Sydney, you probably won't understand what I'm saying at this
Yeah.
point. But it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. The whole city was shut down. It was in CBD, so the Central Business District, The whole city was shut down. Everybody was out on the streets. Everybody
Yeah.
running together. When you see so many
Yeah.
people running
Yeah,
together with you,
Yeah.
it's just like
And you see different people running as well, right? You'll see
exactly.
blind people running the
Yeah,
marathon as well, with people like holding them.
yeah.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
Dude, literally, there was 50, 60, 70, 80 years old
Yeah.
blind people running
Yeah.
a marathon.
Yeah.
If a blind person is running a marathon, I don't know what your excuse is. Anybody who's watching, like a blind person, bro, can you imagine? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have a
wow.
guide, obviously, with them who's running with them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And kudos, I want to give a shout out to that guy, those guys, the service they're doing, running next to a blind person,
Yeah.
guiding
Yeah.
them and helping them achieve that. At some point, if I am privileged enough and get the opportunity to, I told Raj as well, this
Yeah.
is something I
Yeah.
would like to do. Maybe
Oh man,
be a
just imagine.
pacer
Yeah. Yeah.
or be a guide to a blind
Yeah.
person at a marathon.
Like you'd
Uh,
be fulfilling their wish, like they would
It's
like
exactly.
to
for a
run
good
and
cause.
you're yeah,
Like,
Yeah. Good
what's a
good
bigger
purpose.
service than that?
beautiful. That is
It's
just beautiful.
huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And or a pacer as well. So pacer is someone. So everybody has a different running pace, right? So Sydney Marathon has pacers. So their job is to finish the marathon in their given time. So pacers, there will be a 2 hour 45 minute pacer up until
7.
7 hour pacer. So what they do is they'll be running at a constant pace in order to reach the finish line at that mark.
Oh, and you have to
So
follow them, and like if whatever phase you're falling into, you just follow them to the finish line.
yeah, if you want to like
Yeah.
reach the finish line,
Uh,
so they kind of help you keep up and stay,
Within the
on
time.
track and
Yeah.
within the time and
It's
reach the finish
all
line.
based on
a
your time,
very, very silly question. Are these because then these guys are like trained
Yeah,
marathon
of course
runners,
right?
they're
Yeah.
like
trained. Of
Yeah.
so
course
are
they're
they
trained.
like are they competing like professionally as
No,
well? Like,
No.
no, no,
No.
no, no.
They're just there to help you achieve the time
no,
you
no,
want
no,
to
no,
achieve.
Yane, not in that particular race, but like in general, like apart from this race, like because they can finish the
Yeah.
marathon.
It's
Like for example,
definitely not
the
their first. It's not their first. I'm sure they've done it before. And then these pacers, so when you sign up to become a pacer at Sydney Marathon, they start your training to be a pacer like months in advance. So the pacers have a run club as well. So the pacers run club, they would train together every week and which will
oh, that's an
get them.
interesting
Did you
job.
look into
Wow,
it?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
that's an
So
okay, so I have a fact to share because I'm a huge history nerd, as Parmeet knows, and
yeah.
and a big fan of the Greco-Roman era as well. So basically, I just want to like mention why it's 26.2 miles, which is what like Parmeet said as well, which is a marathon. Is because of a battle called the Battle of Marathon, which was fought between the Persian army and the city of Athens. So in that basically I forgot the location, but what happened was the battle was fought and the Athenian army won, which belonged from the state of Greek, right? And they used to have runners like similar to what, okay, not pacemaker, that's a very bad example, scratch that, but they used to have runners who used to run between and pass on messages, like a sort of a army sort of a like a strategic sort of a thing, like pass on
So from
messages.
army to army, like
Like let's say like wherever the battlefield was, wherever the front line was, to the command headquarters, like so the command headquarters, let's say like is 5 kilometers
uh,
away, 4 kilometers away, or if there is a
yeah,
reserve army, or if there
yeah.
is a flanking
So they're
position. So
messengers basically.
absolutely, yes. So they used to call runners, and they used to just pass on messages. So so when the and again like the Persian army at that time was formidable force, and the state of Athenians, although they were like the Greeks were just like superior humans in terms of intelligence, in terms of strategy, but they were always outnumbered, right? So but they had won, and the victory was so unexpected and everyone was so happy. I mean, of course you're so happy because your city would now not be conquered and not burned down to the ashes. So I guess the runner got too excited, and then this runner, his name was Philippides. If I'm not butchering his name, everyone can check up the pronunciation, but this is how it was written. Philippides, I guess. They had very unusual names. Anyway, so he ran back from the battle to Athens in 3 days, and covering a distance. I don't know why it took him this long, but I guess that was his pace. But it took him 3 days. And of course, like you're not just running on a flat track, right? You have a lot of
Three
things
days
going
to
on.
this marathon distance.
Yes, 3 days to marathon distance.
Damn,
Anyways, that
that's
he
a
just covered
snail
this
pace
distance.
in the
Yeah, he
day.
covered this.
That's a
And by the way,
peasant pace.
this is an exaggerated story. But you know, like how lures are made, and you know, like for example, the movie 300 as well. Although that is true, but you know, like there are parts of it which are exaggerated just for the heck of it, right? So,
Yeah,
anyways, he
yeah.
covered that distance, which was 26.2 kilometers. Sorry, 26.2 miles. And when once he reached Athens, he just gave the news to them that we have won, and then he died. So it's
Then he
just a
died.
lore. Yeah, he died. It's just a lore. He died in actuality. I'm not sure that it took him 3 days or that he ran constantly
So
or
this
what.
was what in the 1600, 1500s,
I'm not
1600s?
sure about the time, but this is what we're saying before the Roman Empire as well. So
Yeah.
so this is a long time. We can
Okay, I
do
didn't know that.
yeah, we can do the
That's
facts,
pretty
but
cool.
this was called the Battle of the Marathon. That's why, because this guy ran a marathon to deliver the good news and to die, and from here, that's why this thing was called. Furthermore, if I'm not wrong, then this also set a pace for an army. So, for example, for an army to march, like so this set a standard. Like now, for example, um,
Okay.
like this is the pace. Now this was, if I were to give an analogy, this was now the pace set for an army to march at and to
Mm,
cover a certain distance.
mm.
So we'll get into
Minimum
the,
benchmark.
yeah. I'm just like, I just wanted to give you the meat of it, of
That's
why
pretty cool, bro. I didn't
why
know
and
that.
how the marathon was. Yes, that's the thing. A lot of things that we have right now are from the Roman era. That's why I absolutely love reading
Yeah.
about them,
Yeah.
knowing about them, because literally a lot of, just imagine, a lot of stuff has been carried over centuries. So that's amazing. So basically, if I were to just sum it up, it's 26.2 miles and 42 kilometers, and you're just running. There is no set time limit. You have guides, which are pacemakers, and then you can just finish it on your own. What makes Sydney like the way it is, the way that you've described, and the fact that everyone is out and about, everyone is trying to train, and everyone is trying to support each other.
Go
Okay.
for it.
I have my own way. I feel like honestly I'm so grateful to come to this country. I moved here 2022 Feb. And one thing that I really noticed here and that I really resembled with as well, and which is also the reason why this city has a very, you know, it's close to me, it's close to my heart, is because I see a lot of people in the same boat, as in a lot of people here are invested in their personal growth and, trying to better themselves and improve in different ways. And it's so common to just run into someone randomly who doesn't look like they've done much, but you ask and start digging deep. This is random person on the street, you don't know anything, and somebody's run an ultra marathon, and somebody's done a triathlon, somebody's amateur boxer, this and that. Like, uh, Australia or Sydney particularly is really, really into sport. Like that's what I've
Yeah.
seen personally. And there's so many workshops here and there: yoga, meditation, Wim Hof workshops. The city itself as well really creates an environment of growth in
Yeah.
different ways, and it facilitates that through
Yeah.
different
I
ways,
think
right?
even we were just looking and doing some research the other day, right? Within Sydney itself, like from where we stay, where I stay in Sydney, if I look do a 5 kilometer radius, the amount of parks and open land that there are there
Hmm.
is insane. I don't think I've seen any other city, including Melbourne, not having as many parks as
Yeah.
Sydney does.
Yeah.
Dubai has not. Dubai
Does
has
Dubai
just
have?
No, Dubai
it's just
does not.
community areas. That's
Dubai is
it.
a
I'm yeah,
concrete jungle.
I'm lucky to have something sort of like a kilometer track or something.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
something exclusive. Like, it's otherwise it's just roads. But
Mm,
I get it, Raj. That's an excellent point, and I guess that explains, together with what Parmeet said, like the government giving you the land or the facility, and then the people's will as well. And I believe this happens hand in hand. Like, you give them one park, and then you see how many people are using it, and they're like, okay, now if it's getting crowded, let's give them one more. Let's give
yeah.
this
Yeah,
one more as
that's what
well.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
And I believe this is not even this, how do I say it, like, their, I don't want to say national sport, but surfing, I believe, is pretty, like, looked up to, right?
Yeah.
It's huge here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge
Yeah,
here.
like the water sports, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge. I haven't done much, to be honest.
Yeah.
We tried wakeboarding
Yeah.
Hmm.
once or twice.
That was a failure for me. Like I
No, he
couldn't.
did. We did that. If that was a failure, then I must be
Oh, I took
when it
Anas
comes
as
out
well
to.
in Dubai.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
nice,
fun.
nice.
Yeah,
for me, did very well. It's in our promo
Yeah.
as well. He looks like
Yeah.
it's in our room.
I
Yeah,
had a
You could have
very, I
just
had a,
done that.
yeah, I had a very funny caption as well. Anyway,
yeah.
so when he was doing that,
Honestly, to add on to that
yeah,
last point, one more thing. This is one big thing I've noticed. You wake up 7 in the morning, early morning, go to the park, and just see the amount of, just notice the amount of people you see in
Yeah.
parks hanging out and
Yeah.
about. 7 in the morning, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. You go out, it's dead. Nobody's in the park, nobody's on the streets. Everybody's
Yeah.
like at dinner, going to
Yeah.
bed. That goes to show a lot about the country. Same
Yeah.
thing in Pakistan. You don't
oh
see
my
anyone in the
God,
morning.
Hmm.
it's the
I am,
opposite.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And that goes to show you, right? Bro, the shops open there in the afternoon. Like I don't know how they operate. They're opening shops at 12, 1 in the afternoon. And you see like malls and restaurants, they're open till 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah,
There isn't a single restaurant here, like a proper
yeah,
restaurant. McDonald's and all might be open till 3, 4 a.m. But everything shuts at 9, 10 p.m.
Yeah.
max. Like 10 as well is considered
Yeah.
late.
And that too on weekends as well, right?
Yeah,
There's no exception on weekends. Like no,
yeah.
yeah.
we'll see
Because
open all the
people,
time.
they've figured out a balance of way of living and in their own life. They have their own thing going on, so
Yeah, for
they
sure.
would have
So
to do
it just
that.
goes to show
A lot of
you.
people, I just want to add, like a lot of people will think that we always hate on the Desi culture, the Pakistani culture, but it is what we're experiencing. It's literally what we're experiencing. It's the same thing in Dubai. Like everything opens up at max 9. I wouldn't say 8, but max 9. They do close at 10. But okay, that's understandable. Like people do get free 5, 6 from their office, so they have to do their things and stuff. But the whole idea is that, like what Parmeet said, that if they are sleeping by 7, 8, then they're having the last meal at 6 max, right?
No, they're not sleeping by 8 necessarily. I'm guessing they sleep by 10, 11.
Okay.
But yeah, they just sleep early, rise
But
early.
exactly,
That's how
but
it is.
but yeah, but their day ends. Like I mean, meal is something that you probably have. No worries. Meal is something that you probably have like a couple of hours before sleeping. Just so that you don't wake up feeling like a certain way.
I think, and it's just touching to your question, like what made the Sydney Marathon very special. For me, I feel like Australians overall are very inclusive, right? So I think Permit was mentioning earlier as well. When we're running, it's like everyone is just calling your name. You don't know them. You don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Their family cheering like their siblings or their family members. But
Cheering
you
your
come in the
name
midst of
because
it.
of your nameplate, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they'll just start like shouting, "Go Raj, go!" You got this.
How
You're
does
almost
that
there.
feel?
That it's so good because when you're running, fair enough. But when someone says your name while you're running, it gives you that little energy and boost that you need. And it was so good. It was really
It's
nice.
sort of similar to like when you see a stranger and they pass a smile to you and they don't need to, but they still do, and that,
Exactly. Like a little smile goes a long way, right?
yeah. So
Almost gives you like a little boost. Somebody's like, go Permit, go Permit.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
yeah, let's go. Like, you won't stop in that
that's
moment,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
no, that like that's see that's the story that we talked about. What the guy who broke the uh, what was it for me? Like what I
Eliud,
told you.
Eliud Kipchoge.
No. The story where anyways I
Oh, so in
forgot.
the 60s, basically,
Yeah.
this was
Oh,
science used
yeah.
to believe that a 4-minute mile is
Oh yeah.
impossible to do for a human. Is that the story you're
Yeah,
referring
that
to?
was the one, and the guy was only able to do it because the people in the stadium cheered him on. It just brings out like a sort of a reserve
Yeah, that was
energy inside
partly
of you. Yeah,
obviously
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
But up until that moment, nobody had ever done a 4-minute mile. And this guy,
exactly.
he was a scientist by profession. He
Yeah,
wasn't even a
yeah.
runner. And then he said it's humanly possible. And he himself went on to train for 6, 8 months and did
Yes.
that. And then
And in
in
the
that
same
year alone,
year, yeah,
13 people broke the
absolutely.
record. And this is something me and
Yeah.
Raj have been talking about as well. That in order to work on our pace, we're gonna try to attempt a 4 minute mile.
I saw Raj looking at you like, bro, this is
It's
done.
gonna take a lot more Sunday runs to do that than anything
Yeah, yeah,
else. And
yeah.
a few excuses here and there. I can't make it. I can't make it.
Of
But
course, of course, Raj. I wanna come back to you as well. You were giving me your like basically this is the first time that we're meeting. It's an honor for me, and so far I've really had a nice conversation with you. But I asked you like, what does a daily like day in your life look like? And obviously, you're focused on your education. You're focused on your career as well. That is amazing, and that should be the priority for a young man this age. We always um, advocate towards that. But like of course in that Parmeet also mentioned, since he's a really good friend of yours, that this aspect of fitness and this not saying that you're not fit, you look
yeah.
fit, and
He's very fit,
but
bro. He just finished a
exactly for a
marathon.
that's what I'm saying, for a person who wasn't into this lifestyle, who wasn't into this sort of thing. So I just want to ask, like, how after finishing the marathon is your outlook towards like preparing for further marathons, or even if not, just like taking up on fitness as a part of your lifestyle and inserting that 1 hour window into your daily routine.
Yeah, I used to before I used to be like really good. I would go to the gym here and there, and that was like pre-COVID. When I came to Sydney, I don't know what happened to me. Like obviously, I used to go boxing with Parmeet here and there once in a while, and then that stopped. Like I became lazy. Uni took over, and over here, even like they would do weekly runs. I would never do weekly runs because I don't make time to do a weekly run. I just get distracted in my own things, and I don't like do anything like that. But in terms of if I was to train for future marathons, I would take training seriously. Like as much as I did mess around here and there, and I didn't do any background research, for me to pull up some carb gels, right? When I first had a carb gel, I was like, dude, what are you giving me, man? Like, where did you get this from? Then I did some research and I was like, wait, people actually use these carb gels to give you energy. And that was when I was telling Permeet, like, what is this for? I don't see the point of having a carb gel.
Uh,
And now I can't even rely without, like, I need to have them to be able to run long distances.
yeah, I think he was also trying to ask you, and let me rephrase that in a way that
Yeah.
you finishing the marathon, how has that changed your outlook on what's possible as opposed to how you would think of what's possible 6 months ago? And you having an accomplished what you accomplished, how has
Yeah.
your outlook changed on what's possible now? Because I asked you one, I only had to ask you one question, and him and myself as well, and
Yeah.
Josh as well,
Yeah.
that did you last year believe you could do a marathon? And the answer for all three of us was no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We didn't believe or even think of it, right? But now, as you keep taking one step, you get one step closer, and as you keep taking more and more steps, things open up.
100%. I got back from holiday in Bali and Permit was like, "Oh, do you know we're running a marathon in like 3 months?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that, but like for the longest time, I postponed buying a ticket." Permit would bring the topic up when I was buying marathon tickets. I wouldn't really respond to him, and I would try like divert the conversation. And once he's just like, "I've bought the ticket. Now it's up to you. Like we have to do this." And it gives you that little bit of like pushing
Yeah,
yourself, and you're like, okay, I've like committed to him. I got to do this. On Sundays, I wake up sometimes. I'm like, I really don't want to go for a run. Should I just call and be like, I can't make it? Then I'm like, nope, gotta go for a run.
yeah. You used to dread them in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
You're like, why does this guy have to wake me up at 7 in the morning on a
yeah,
Sunday? And
yeah,
because the thing is, if you gotta do that, then you gotta make a compromise, which is you can't do anything on the Saturday night. So your
yeah,
Saturday is basically, uh, you know, you have to compromise that it in service of training for the marathon.
yeah,
So yeah, nothing comes without sacrifices, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
Absolutely. I'm trying to find the right words to phrase this into a question, but okay, but let me try. So, I mean, we at Wiser do definitely preach a certain philosophy, and that is definitely to work hard and to strive and to be the best version of yourself. But that isn't in absence of fun. It's not like we don't like to have fun as well. Like we do have fun in our own time, and that fun is usually earned. So that is that. Like like it's just balancing the aspect of fun and hard work. Raj, like we've all had friends, right? And like at this point, too many friends. Where do you put a friend like Parmeet, in like if there was sort of an hierarchy which who brings this idea of, like having fun as well and working hard, and like, for example, like you guys mentioned, like, achieving finishing the marathon last year was impossible, to making that possible. So where do you put like a friend like Parmeet? And like, if there was, I'm not saying like, like a better or worse sort of a friend, but like in terms of what he brings to the table, and what, like, in recent memory, and in this context to this conversation, what he brings to the table, where do you put someone like him?
Yeah, I mean, Parmeet is someone I consider a very, very close friend in Sydney, and like in terms of hierarchy, I place Parmeet at the very top because of the respect I have for him. Uh, my last 1.5 to like almost 2 years now, right, that I've known Parmeet for, we've just had very many encounters, and it's all very positive. It's more like he's always pushing me to do the best, right? From the very first time he took me boxing, and he keeps on asking me. Parmeet is not a guy who gives up on you. He'll keep on pushing you and asking you. Even all our friends know it, right? He'll just be like, let's go boxing, let's go boxing. I know you're making up an excuse. You don't have a headache. You're lying to me. Let's go. That's the kind of stuff. And we have very real conversations. We talk like about an array of things. There's no form of like uh, it's very growth conversations, growth
Yeah,
friendship, right?
growth
there's
oriented.
there's no gossip involved. We hate that. No judgments. It's just pushing yourself, and that's what he believes in. And I feel like that's where we all got close. I told him this wouldn't be possible without him, to be honest.
And vice versa, bro. To be
Yeah.
honest, like
I was about
it's
to ask you, wait. That's what I was about to ask you. He's jumping the gun, but definitely that's what I feel as well. And now, for me, yes, now I'll ask you, like, where do you put someone like Raj as well? Because, yeah, sure, like, it is hard, it is tough, but this guy never, like he said, I love the word that he used, respect. So he respected you that much that he chose to do something and undergo something that was really hard for him, foreign to him as well. He didn't even know that it would be possible or not, and for the longest time, he tried to delay. Where do you put someone like him who actually took your trust, took your belief in him, and actually converted that last week?
yeah. So for me, obviously, friendship is one thing, and there's two aspects to this, right? Raj is a phenomenal friend. I find it very easy to talk to him, and then is just like that connection and respect and admiration for each other, and values are similar. The conversations flow in a certain way, and all of that is very important. But what is equally more important for me is having that. If I'm not able to do those things with you, if the things I want to do in my life, if I can't, if you can't be a part of it, then I have to unfortunately compromise on the social bit. So what I then generally do is, as I've mentioned before as well, you are the mix of the five people around you, and if those five people around you aren't doing the things that you want them to do, you put it forward. You take the first step and introduce it to them, and then do it together. So my approach, I don't differentiate between Raj or Josh or Non Vincent. There's just so many people, right, in uni as well. All of them, we started with last year boxing. We had a boxing club. Raj used to come. There's as few other people used to come. Whoever can come,
Yeah.
I make a group, take everyone. Then it's up to you. Like if you show up, right? Even with marathon, we have a run club. It's just me, Raj and Josh who ran the marathon, but in the club we have like I think 10 11 people, and for different runs different uh, group of people would join us and run with us. And I'm always asking them if I should buy a ticket and let's do
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
got to commit to a goal and this and that. But at the end of the day, who committed and who delivered? It's Raj and Josh, and that's what signifies our relationship so much. It's not necessarily me pushing them and all that. I feel like these guys are destined to do that in their life.
Yeah.
I will just maybe put there to give a certain kind of energy and be a messenger in a certain way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I for myself as well, like I said last year, I didn't believe I could run a marathon. Even earlier this year, I had this crazy self belief. I don't know where it comes from. I feel like a lot of it comes from meditation and stuff, but I do have a crazy self belief. I did have that, but I never knew how I'll get to the finish line. And that I discovered running with these guys. We would chat and talk, and they've motivated me as much as I've motivated them, to be honest. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be going on those Sunday runs alone. They would be miserable.
Yeah.
And it's happened before. This one time
Yeah.
I felt sick, so I didn't go for the Sunday run. Raj and Josh went, and both of them didn't run more than 10 kilometers,
Yeah.
and then they just came back. So it just goes to show. And then, like, we were having chats, we were discussing. Josh comes and tells us, bro, first thing in the morning, we reach the park. I don't want to see a lazy face, and I don't want to see complaining, oh, I didn't sleep well, this and that. It just breaks the momentum. When you come to the park, 7 in the morning, you gotta be energetic.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we all learned this from each
Yeah.
other. I didn't tell them this. He's telling me,
Yeah.
bro, don't make a lazy face. You come to the park 7 in the morning, you're just complaining, you didn't
Yeah.
sleep, you didn't
Yeah.
do this. No,
Yeah.
we gotta be in a different mindset. So I mean, coming back to your question, yeah, I try and push all of them, but this is the guy who showed up, and he showed up for all of them, and he ran with me, so it's all mutual. It's all mutual. And it's the same for me. Like, I don't know how I would have been able to do it if it weren't for these guys. They made it so much easier. And you know
Mhm.
it was like an outing as well, because if you're going 4 hours running alone,
Yeah.
then it's kind of miserable. But like, we used to go together, we'll run 4 or 5 hours, then we go for breakfast, I'll come home, do the podcast with you, then we'll go for a sunset. And yeah, it's coming back to those things that you need to experience these different things together. Yeah, meeting, sitting and talking is good, but if you don't put yourself in different situations and different problems and face those problems together and find a solution together, you would never really develop your relationship
Mhm.
to that level.
See, that's the. Go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, I was just gonna add into that, like, because Parmeet is very insightful when it comes to like running, and he knows the science and all of that behind it, right? So, like, up until now, I never knew what carb loading was before a run, right? But then the 2 days before, he's like, on Sunday, make sure you've carb loaded enough, or have breakfast. And I'm like, wait, what? What does this all add up to, you know? And now I truly believe that he actually did his research and went in, and those are the kind of conversations that are like, damn, it brings us together, you know?
Yeah,
That's beautiful. When you mentioned carb loading, I just remembered an episode of The Office. For people who are Office fans, so basically, uh, in that episode they're doing the marathon, and for him, when he's doing the carb loading, what that means is he's devouring a bowl of Fredo pasta. The I forgot the name of the pasta, but that's what he meant, like the for to carb load, just have like a bowl of creamy pasta. But that's not the carb loading that we're talking about. We're talking about something else, healthy carbs. Anyways, um, what I gather from what you have mentioned, and this is exactly what we're aiming towards at Wiser as well, to have a tribe, to have a group of people that share this same philosophy, that share the same thing. Because I didn't know, because up till this point, until what Parmeet told, I didn't know that Yash was doing this or you were doing that. From what I can gather right now is that all three of you were bringing value to the table in some
of
sort of
course,
way.
of
Yeah.
course,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
Just showing up says a
precisely,
lot.
precisely. And I definitely, at this point of age in my life, with anything, like with anything in life, it has to be mutual. If the other person is not willing, if the other person is not as energetic, if they're not bringing that same energy, that same value, that same work ethic to the table, it is never going to work. So, all in all, what I can conclude is that it was a team effort, it was a group effort, and hence that converted into something that you guys accomplished together. And I believe that's the most beautiful form of brotherhood, camaraderie. I wish that on every people as well, that they find, like a group of friends, Raj, Yash, Parmeet, like
Josh,
all.
Josh with a J. Sorry.
Josh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry,
Yeah.
brother. Josh, like all these three guys coming together and bringing in the energy that they did. Like just saying that I don't want to see a lazy face, because,
Yeah.
like Parmeet said,
Yeah,
yes, that
that's what and I'm like,
definitely.
bro, when he said that, I'm like,
It's
man,
actually true.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly, yeah.
There's once we were running, and I met Josh, and I'm like, I'm dead, I'm dead. I kept on doing this to him, and then he met me after the run. He's like, no, you can't be doing this to, because that's like demotivating. It's
That's
like, push
amazing.
yourself more. Like,
That's
yeah,
keep on
amazing.
pushing yourself.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
yeah.
Just keep on going.
And friends like this, they really do, like, for the rest of your life, whenever you need something, whenever you need an extra push, because all of us go through something, and whenever you need that, you know who to lean on, you know who will get you back in the sack, and that's just truly amazing. So guys, that was just like a beautiful conversation, and I believe, like, people who are listening to this, I would say, like what Parmeet said, that okay, I mean, you have a group of friends and they might not be into something, but you can definitely introduce and see what happens from there. And if they are willing and if they are able to, then it might be marathon for you, it might be a triathlon, or it might be something else for you, like anything or so. So guys, that was just beautiful. One thing, one request, can I see your medals?
You can see the medal, bro. I'm collecting all of them. I have no medals from my childhood, and I've got three this year. I only have three medals, and all three are from this year. And I'm
Respect.
collecting. I'm collecting them now. Once for the half marathon, once for my amateur boxing match, and then once for the full marathon now. But yeah, this is just gonna keep going. My biggest takeaway is I'm just gonna say, to follow on to add on to your concluding points, for everyone who's watching, again, clearly mentioning we did not believe we could do this. January, February, March, we started with the bigger picture always paralyzes us. If you think about the end goal, if in February, if we're thinking that we're going to run 42 kilometers and use that as a focal point to start, we would never start because the mountain in front of you is so big that you just don't know how you'll get there. Like it's unfathomable. We started with 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers, six, seven, eight, did 10 together, 15 together, and then we did the half marathon. And then slowly, I just want to say, as you keep taking that one step further, the possibilities will open up. So, no matter how big your dream or end goal is, be it running a marathon or even ultra, which is like 80, 100 kilometers, just start with one step. Start with 5K, start with 10K, take your friend with you and start there. And once you keep doing that, once you show up, the opportunities will come to you, but you just got to show up. Your opportunities won't come to you sitting in your couch or being in bed. But if you go down there and you show up, the opportunities will come to you. And for us as well, possibilities
Yeah.
are endless because I've convinced my brother to do an ultra. We're gonna do an
Yeah.
ultra together.
Anas, when you come down, we'll do it all together. We should all do it together. We're gonna drag you into this as well.
See, now this is at a point. I really like what I like about Raj is that he's open. He's open. Like he trusts me a lot, and he's open and he trusts me a lot. So I know I'm crazy, but I'm glad that I've found this brother that who's willing to try these crazy things with me.
But
I'm
And
sure Raj will also come up with something crazy of his own for you to try.
Ultra is like looking when he first told me Ultra and I was like, what's Ultra? And it's like 100K. I'm just like I don't know if I can like hack anything close to 100K. But then even 60, 50, it all feels like it's very nerve wracking right now. You're thinking about it.
yeah, yeah.
But again, we all start off
Practice.
with
We
zero
gotta
today.
practice. We
Yeah.
started this year. We only
Yeah.
started 6 months ago,
Yeah.
so we've accomplished a lot in that sense, doing all of that in 6 months, and not just for us. Honestly, uh, we're blessed and grateful to be in a position where we've got so many people around us, our friends, who are inspired. Who wanna do more, and maybe they won't go and run a marathon, but as it even if it gets them out of bed or gets them to pick on a new habit or something positive, whatever it may be, smallest things, you know, you have done your part.
So
So,
yeah, I mean, runner's high is definitely a thing, guys. I mean, that just makes you feel good. Anything like Parmeet said, that getting out of the bed and working hard towards is good. One thing that just came up to my mind, and I think since we were focusing on camaraderie, about like working together, I just want to say, like, people who might not be, I wouldn't use the word blessed or privileged or anything like that, but let's say that you're starting solo. Okay, you're starting solo and you want to do one thing, and you might not have friends who are in the same thing, or it's okay, it's fine, like not every friend of us will do the same thing as we want to do. But I would just say, like what these guys are saying, start. And like the environment that they describe is that you will find people along the way. Like Parmeet found that 57-year-old guy who did, and they talk and they exchange because they went through the same struggle. So all you have to do is just put yourself out there. Don't worry about you finding your Raj or your Josh or your Parmeet or whoever. You will find your like musketeers, you will find your brothers, but you must start. You must like be at the finish line to meet the same level of people. A lot of like my friends, like say they ask that, oh, like my friends don't do this, my friends don't do that to me. I'm like, did you even start? Because once you start, you get into that community. Once you start, you start having those conversations. Once you start, you start finding those people, and you never know who you might inspire. So like for example, how Raj said that, like 100K, poof, like, but wait, let's say like
It rings my bells too because
exactly,
42K
yeah.
killed me.
And I
42K
can
killed
see,
me.
and I
But I
can see
tell you,
like, yeah,
when I
next
tell you
year,
about my
yeah,
self belief,
We keep
exactly.
telling him like you're dreaming, you're dreaming. Even when we started talking about a marathon, I'm like, this is a dream, dude. Like, wake up, reality.
No, bro, it's
But
like I can see us having another episode next year or before about the
yes, for
100K.
sure.
So for sure, I mean, like Parmeet said, like Parmeet was showing you his medals this year. A lot of things have happened that have also like ignited my self belief as well, and it's just about forward momentum. What like Parmeet said, it's just a step by step towards the thing. Parmeet and I, when we used to do our e-commerce thing before as well, we had this term was there about analysis paralysis. You just paralyzed thinking about certain things, and you just keep on going in loop in circles rather than just working on it and then figuring it out throughout the journey.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually journaled very deeply on this today, which is don't think, just do. Most things in life, you don't require thinking in that. You just need to act. You thinking adds another layer of complexity and challenge that you have to overcome to fulfill that action. So, in most cases, unless that action has a severe consequence, you shouldn't be thinking about it. And in most day-to-day things in life, these things don't have consequence. You getting out of bed, taking a cold shower, going to the gym, doing some work or whatever maybe, these things don't have any consequences in life, so you don't need to think about them. And what we do by this is actually called limbic friction. Limbic friction is the gap between you thinking of doing something and actually doing it, and the level of resistance you feel in order to convince yourself to do a certain action. You know how David Goggins used to say, like, I used to look at my boots for 30 minutes before I put them on and went running. So that contemplating part where you're thinking of going to the gym or not going to them and how long that takes you is called limbic friction. It's coined by this term is recently coined by Andrew Huberman.
Okay.
Uh,
From the
yeah, he's a
Uberman
neurologist.
podcast.
Yeah, you know him. Yeah, so look into it. But yeah, like most things in life, you don't need to think. Thinking puts you on the back foot. You get to analyze everything and get a bigger picture, but action puts you on the front foot. And most things in life, you don't genuinely need to think about the action you're taking because it doesn't have severe consequences. Like, and most day-to-day things and habits that you should do, they don't have consequences. You picking up that book, going for the run, going to the gym, taking a cold shower, this and that, there's no consequences. But you thinking adds, because the mind always wants to be comfortable, so it's gonna find a way to uh, seek comfort in always possible. So you thinking more and more takes you away from the action.
I'll just
So
add a
just do.
personal, yeah.
And
I just add a person anecdote to this. This is definitely. Thank you for giving a name to this thing because I definitely feel this. And the anecdote goes like this: that basically how I set my things is that when I come back from work, I have some certain tasks that I need to do. Now, in that moment when I come back home, if I and this has happened, if I, sometimes my brother eats at that time, so I see food, or like my bed is over there, so I'm like, some like this happened to me a couple of times. If I just sit down and start having like I start from an orange,
yeah,
that's it.
Mm.
That's it. The day is done. The day is wrapped. I'm like,
It's all of us. It's
oh
all of
man,
us,
why I
bro.
did
It's all
this?
of us.
Or if I just lie down, I'm like, Anas, okay, you worked hard today. You drove for like 45 minutes. Just like lie down, give yourself some
Yeah.
lumbar support,
You're
and
justifying
it's
it.
done.
Yeah.
And it's what you guys say at the start of the podcast with marathon, that if you start walking, you're done. So you don't start walking like towards the beginning of the marathon, but rather towards the end. So that because to start the engine back again is just like Prameet said. I don't know if this applies over this limbic friction, but this is definitely a thing. So I started doing. I'm like, I come back home, I change into my workout clothes, I just go. If I
It is,
just
right?
sit down for a second, the day is done.
Yeah. No, it does add to it because if you think about logically, the action, if you're getting that thought deep down at the core, we all know what we need to do, right? We get a there's our body has ways of notifying us. They release cortisol to wake you up. They release melatonin to get you sleepy, and in different ways you like get a kick. Oh no, I should go work out, do this and that. So there's action that you need to do, and that in itself is hard. And then you add this layer of thinking. So now you don't just have to do the action. You have to first convince yourself to do the action and then do the action, which just makes it twice as hard, right? And the more you contemplate that activity, the how further away you go from doing it. But I think that's very good.
Raj, I have one last question for you.
Tell me.
Okay.
Listen.
What does success mean to you?
Success is just being happy. Just as long as you do something that you actually like and you enjoy it, and if even if success is not money, even if you're not making money out of it, as long as you're a happy person, to be honest, that's what success is, right? And keeping your close friends and your family with you, people who you value close enough, that's success. That's what I would
Okay.
call my version of success.
Another question. Are you happy?
I am happy.
He's the most positive person I know.
Yeah.
Him
Yeah.
and Anirudh as well. Anirudh and Raj
Oh,
give me the same vibes.
yeah.
I've never seen them like give any sort of negativity or be angry or being judgmental or
Yeah.
saying negatively or talking badly about someone. Always positive, always
Yeah.
with a smile. And Raj is quite a socialite. Everybody is very famous in our. Everybody
I know.
knows him. Everybody knows
No.
him
He has a
because
very
of his positive demeanor and
his name itself, like
yeah.
Raj.
It's
Yeah.
just all about like living life, just enjoying every moment, like nothing too serious.
Yeah.
When you need to be serious, of course, you have to be serious. But other than that, when we're just chilling, like here and there, just like talking, laughing, trying to make fun,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
whole point
Being
of this.
inclusive and yeah,
Yeah.
all of that.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
Uh,
Okay, I think we will conclude with that answer. Thank you so much,
thank you.
brother, for being a
Thank
part
Thank
of
you.
you,
this and
Raj.
joining. I
I,
appreciate it. Uh, this I wanted to have you on for
yeah.
some time, but this felt like the perfect time, and it
No.
was.
Yeah. It was an experience and the perfect time to be in here as well. Uh, you guys
And
give out a lot of wisdom, and it's really amazing what you're doing. Just keep doing it.
and Raj is one of
Yeah.
them. There's a lot of other friends who are doing amazing things. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
There is countless people who've started running, started boxing. Hamza's
Yeah.
going boxing, Kush
Yeah.
is going boxing,
Yeah.
Divyam is going
Yeah.
boxing. There's so many people started running,
Yeah.
and this is just not to take credit, but it's you are doing those things and then inspiring people and getting them moving in a certain way or instilling certain kind of energy in them, which gets them to do those things. And it's not to credit to me because it's not my energy. I took it from someone, adopted it, carried it out, and then somebody adopts it, and it keeps on flowing. It's not
Yeah.
yours to behold or take credit for.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we make for a good tunnel for that energy to pass on to other people.
Mm.
So with that, we'll conclude here. Thank you everyone for joining and being a part of this till the end. If you have any marathon related questions, you've got a fellow marathoner
Nah.
here and him and myself as well. So we'd be happy to
Cool.
answer any questions. And if you're training for a marathon,
For
and
sure.
especially if it's your first time, it can be very hard. I totally understand. So if we can help in any way, please let us know and keep supporting us. And yeah, we'll see you next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao, guys.